So coloring a pumpkin, then adding a face to it. Now I just cut out this pumpkin. Now you could also trace around it and have your child cut it out. Pumpkins aren't hard for them to cut out, so they can cut that out or you can cut it out. I cut it out of white because I'm going to color it orange. But whatever color that you want to do is fine. What you can do is either you cut it out or your child cuts it out, and just go ahead and put it down and they can color it, of course, whatever color they want. It doesn't need to be orange because, as we know, not all pumpkins are orange. Some are white, and some are other colors as well. Okay, so whatever color and however they want to color it. Some kids will probably color it rainbow, and some kids will maybe give it a pattern, and that's okay. And some may have polka dots. Whatever they want to do is great. And then you could cut out some things to make a face. So I cut it out of black, but you could even cut it out of yellow. So, you know, when the light goes up in the pumpkin, it makes that yellow glow. You could do yellow as well. Cut out whatever shapes that you want, or you can give your child a black piece of paper and let them cut out whatever they want. Cut out a little mouth, then I cut out the triangle eyes and the triangle nose, and then just some glue. And using glue is working on those muscles in their hands, which is great for writing. They're strengthening those muscles. And then they can put it wherever they want. Now, some pumpkins are going to have a face, mouth up here on the side. However they want to do it is fine. It doesn't have to be the way that you or we think it should be. And some children are going to use a ton of glue, and that's okay too. There you have it, a pumpkin. So you can just cut out of black paper a spider web shape. It doesn't have to be, you know, anything grand. Just any kind of shape, any way it goes is just fine. So I cut it out of black paper because I'm going to use white paint, so it shows up really neat on it. And then, since we're doing marble painting or golf ball painting, whatever you have, you'll need a box, as long as it's big enough for the paper to go into. And then you'll need some kind of balls. You could use golf balls, marbles, whatever you have at home. Bouncy balls, those work great too. Whatever you have at home, you can just scrounge up and put in there, that roll around. That works great too. Now what I do is I get a little piece of tape and I roll it up like this and just stick it in the bottom of the box, and then put the spider web or whatever, the paper, on top of that, and then just kind of press it down, so then when they pick up the box and roll it around, then the spider web stays in one spot. Just go ahead and put the paint in a dish, a bowl, a plastic plate, whatever you have. Put the golf balls in that. I kind of like to coat them a little bit so that it has some paint on them to get started. You'll need a spoon. Now, of course, your child can pick these up with their hands and put them in, or they can use a spoon, and they're working on small motor skills as well. While they're scooping up the spoon, they're working those muscles in their hands, and also control as well, trying to get the ball onto the spoon and into the box. So then they can just plop them in there. The fun parts. Pick up the box and roll it around. And the paint comes off of the golf balls onto the spider web. Now, if you're worried about the balls jumping out, which sometimes they do, they jump out of the box because they're going to get so excited rolling around that box, you could do it outside or put down some newspaper. You could also use a box that maybe has some higher edges as well. I have the candy corn cut out. I just cut it out of white construction paper. Okay, so white, orange, yellow. Now what we're going to be doing is, you know, making the candy corn, but however your child does it is okay. If they're all mixed up, it's okay. It doesn't have to be exactly the way it is, of course. I need some tissue paper. So I have orange and yellow because I figured the paper was already white, so that would be the white part. And then you're going to need some vinegar, and any kind of vinegar you have will work. This type is the apple cider vinegar. That's all I have in the house, so look in your cupboard, see if you have some vinegar, and any kind will work. It's not going to show up brown or anything when it dries on the paper, so it's okay to use this kind. And just go ahead and pour a little bit of it into a bowl. You don't need a whole bunch, and you'll need a paintbrush. Your child's going to paint, use a paintbrush, and just brush on some vinegar. I'm going to put on some tissue paper. Okay, so they're just going to put on the tissue paper however they want it to go. It doesn't have to be the exact colors that are on a candy corn. And then you want to have your child paint over the tissue paper as well. And the more vinegar they get on there, the better. And then you'll paint, your child can keep painting. They can paint the whole candy corn if they want. And then put on some other color, and then maybe orange or more yellow or whatever they want to do. And now the cool thing that's going to happen is when it starts, it starts to come through right away. You can see the vinegar takes the color out of the tissue paper and leaves the color behind. So now when it starts to dry, your child can peel off the tissue paper and see what it's left behind. Some kids want to peel it off right away, and they can do that. They can peel it off right away, or they could leave it on there and let it soak up a little bit, and then later start to peel it off and see the color. I'll peel off a little bit, but you won't be able to see it as much as when they peel it off later. But see, it leaves the color behind. Isn't that so cool? And you can keep on peeling. And see, isn't that neat? It just leaves it behind. You're going to need a container. You don't need a pumpkin like this, but if you have something like that, that would work. A bowl, a cup, a jar, whatever you have that when you drop something into it, it makes a sound. Okay, and some pumpkin seeds. So what you can do is you can kind of do an activity beforehand. You can get a pumpkin and you can scoop out the pulp and the seeds together, wash the seeds off and let them dry for a little while. And then you can do this activity together. You can also just buy pumpkin seeds, in the store as well. So, and also you can cut out some, some seeds like this, or just write numbers on a piece of paper and just cut them up. Now, depending on where your child is developmentally, how many numbers they know or not, I have 10 here, but you just may want to start with 3 or 4, just a small amount. You and your child can play this together. Your child can think, okay, I think I'll drop 4 in or something. So they're going to be thinking about what number they want to drop in. And so you're going to be listening to how many. So they're going to drop 1. And then you say, oh, I heard 4. I'm going to go find that number. So, oh, I found the number 4. Yay, good job. And then they can do it as well. So you can drop the seeds in, and then they have to listen to see how many seeds you dropped in and then find that number. Or you could put all the numbers together, and they choose a number, so 4. They choose the number 4. Then they're going to drop that many seeds into the bucket. And then you're going to listen to see how many they dropped in, and then vice versa. You can pick the number, you drop in the seeds, and then they have to see how many seeds are dropped in there. But they really have to listen. So they're working on listening, and they're working on counting, and they're working on waiting their turn, and they're also working on number recognition as well. It's finger painting a pumpkin. You could cut it out, your child could cut it out. However you want to do it is fine. A pumpkin's not too hard for them to cut out, so they can work on that. And then if you're worried about finger painting mess, how messy that can be, you can put some paper on your table, you can put some on the floor, you can put some wherever you think it's going to get messy. You could even get a box and put it inside a box, so then they have to finger paint in the box, so all the paint stays inside. What I like to do is do some mixing colors. So we're going to do orange. So I use red and yellow because that makes orange, and then just dump a little bit on there and then squish it around. Now, whatever color your child wants, it's fine. It doesn't have to make orange. If they want a purple or a pink pumpkin, that's fine too. So I'm going to put some yellow and red paint on. And this is just construction paper. You can use printer paper, but printer paper is pretty thin, so the more they rub it around, the more likely it can get a hole in it very quickly. So you can just use any paper that you have will work. And then just let them mix it around, and then they'll start seeing the colors change. I think I'm going to add a little bit more yellow because I think that'll make it a little bit more orange. And then we'll start seeing the color come out. Now you can, let your child just keep on painting, finger painting as much as they want. And then they could add a face to it.